At this point, I think everyone knows who I am and why I'm here. I'm here, of course, because I believe in I-1098, and I know that it will be good for Washington when it's adopted. It'll be good for our kids, good for small businesses, and it'll be good for the economy. But I'm not alone. Standing here with me today are a good many civic and business leaders who will pay the income tax and also support I-1098. We all support I-1098 for our own reasons, but I think it's fair to say that basically we support this initiative because we believe that it'll improve education and health care in our state and ensure that the wealthy contribute to the health and well-being of our state. So, let me, without further ado, turn things over to the remarkable people who have joined us this afternoon. Speaking today will be Nick Hanauer, a founder of Second Avenue Partners, Mike Matthew, a high-tech and social entrepreneur, Judy Piggott, who is a Seattle author and philanthropist, and beside the speakers, we have joining us here today Ruth Lipscomb, a community volunteer and former Microsoft employee, David Kaplan, technologist and entrepreneur focused on clean energy, Valerie Tirico, a psychologist and author, Brian Abergast, angel investor and philanthropist, Bill Pope, investor and philanthropist and former legal counsel for Microsoft, Bill Marler, managing partner of Marler Clark, LLP, Floyd Jones, a partner at First Washington Corporation, John Burbank, who is the executive director of the Economic Opportunity Institute, Aubrey Davis, who is the founder of Geico Western Inc., and Peter Davis, who is the president and CEO of Geico Western Inc. So after short presentations from the speakers, we'll open things up for questions and discussion. Thank you.
I am a technology entrepreneur and venture capitalist, and I am here supporting Initiative 1098 because I absolutely agree with Bill. When passed, it will be fantastic for this state. And there are two dimensions in which I think 1098 it will be helpful to us. And one is fairness, and the other is prosperity. Let's start with fairness. Washington State tax code is anything but fair. We have the least fair tax system of any state in the nation. And by unfair, I mean that the middle class and working class pay a huge proportion of their income towards supporting the state, and wealthy people like me pay almost none. So if you are in the middle 20% in our state, you pay between 10 and 12% of your income to support the state's services. If you're a working class person in the bottom 20%, you spend 15 to 17. If you're in the top 1%, you spend just 2.6%, but that's not really the full story, because if you're really rich, if you're above 1%, like me, you pay 0.3%, and that's not fair. And wealthy people in the top 1% should be embarrassed by that, and non-wealthy people should be angered by that, because in no prosperous, secure, and stable society can you find examples over time where the wealthy don't pay their fair share. The other issue at hand is prosperity. And these two things are linked. Because again, you look at history and if you look around the world, what you will find is that only in places where the wealthy, like us, pay our fair share, is there economic vitality. That's why Canada is an economically vital place, and Somalia is not. And that's why it's so important for people like us to come together to support the vital infrastructure that makes prosperity in our region possible. Microsoft, which has been a great boon to our community, was only possible because there was an educated workforce. But Microsoft didn't educate that workforce. We did. And it was that collective investment, that teamwork, that made Microsoft, which frankly made all of us more prosperous, possible. Initiative 1098 creates the opportunity to create more prosperity by investing more money in our state in critical services like public education and healthcare. Thank you.
Paying the taxes now is the equivalent of investing in the stock market for the long term, or having a checking account that bears interest, and you leave them, or savings account, you leave money there. The dividends over time go and maximize, multiply the investment. And if we put the money in now by paying fairly for our taxes, as Nick was saying, the chance of having the educated workforce that a PACCAR or a Boeing or a Microsoft needs, having them come from our region, will pay huge dividends. And I'll leave other things for other people to say. Thank you.
Here in Seattle, an investor. And I just wanted to address the points about Initiative 1098 and its impact on the business community. I think all of us here today create, invest in, and run very successful businesses. And we can tell you that I-1098 does not have a bad impact on the business community. When I think about 1098 and the B&O tax, 1098 eliminates the B&O tax for about 118,000 small businesses in Washington State, and will reduce the B&O tax for another 39,000. The question is why? Why care? Why does that matter? I think back to my last business, All Star Directories. In the early days, we were really struggling. For about the first year, we were losing money hand over fist, and we did not have outside investors. This was money coming out of my checking account, basically to fund the business. And at that time, the B&O tax, even though we had no prospects for making a profit, we were still paying the B&O tax. Now, All Star Directories was lucky. I was lucky. All Star Directories just last week was named to the list of the fastest growing private companies in Washington for a record 7 years in a row. And we made it. But I think about the businesses that might not make it, the ones where this reduction or elimination of the B&O tax can make a difference for them. Just at lunch today, I was at Sunrise. It's an organic Asian restaurant near my office, and I sort of tend to get the same thing every day. And the owner there, Kim, said, "Oh, nope, the price has gone up." And I said, "Oh, what's happened? It's been the same for the last 3 or 4 years." And she said, "Times are tough, and we have to kind of, we get to pass it on to you." And so people like Kim are the ones that I think of when how this B&O tax cut can impact small business. For other businesses, big businesses, it should be clear that this is not a tax on corporations. There's not a single business that's going to pay more tax from Initiative 1098. It's true that wealthy owners of businesses, many of them wealthy because of the successful small businesses they own and operate, will pay more tax to the extent they have income that they choose not to reinvest in their businesses. If they reinvest in new jobs, wages, capital expenditures, things about expanding and growing business opportunities, that's not tax, that's growth. So these reasons about the impact that 1098 can have in the business community, these Main Street businesses, where you don't know these 118,000 businesses, whether it's just the coffee shop down on the Main Street or whether it's the next Starbucks. And that's why I support 1098. And I hope people will come and support this growing coalition of business owners across Washington State that are in support of I-1098.
Obviously, we've got a lot of folks here, but why don't we now just open it up for questions from the press, and then please, anyone here, if